Ugh, I needed this.
What?
Beer.
Turning into a drunk.
Yes.
It's called becoming scrawny.
Is it Scotty? I thought whenever you put that in the messages, I think I pronounce it Scony in my head.
Yeah. No, just like Wisconsin. So it's scrawny.
Makes sense.
Or a lot of people say Wisco also.
Wisco.
Yeah.
I really want the Jeff. I'm dropping a link to the Fleet Farm holiday shop inside of the chat, but I really wanted the this full moon diner one because it's a werewolf themed one, but it's like $120.
Ooh. So Jeff is gonna get it for you?
Yep.
Once I get my merch from UFO days, maybe I'll think about it.
Shouldn't have forgot it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely am more into the monsters versus Bigfoot stuff. Yeah,
You don't like big feet?
I do like big feet, but I'm a monster flick guy.
Oh, I also like creature features.
You know what I'm saying, Skeeter?
Yeah.
The creatures.
The creatures.
Critters.
Kind of like your Kappa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna grab
I
a
need to
green
get a
ball
frame
out of your
for all
ass.
that stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, approve.
Badass.
My girlfriend just shared the link to the live in the Infinite Rabbit Hole group on Facebook. So, could you approve that?
I'm on it. On it. On it.
Thought of another card for you, Jeff. Well, actually, for all of you, I've been working for next year's collection of cards for you guys, and I found this one. I know Jeff will really dig.
Well, what is it?
It's a surprise. I mean,
Ugh, I hate surprises.
bad as my wife. She can't stand it either. She can't wait. Now I got a few more for Jake. Jeremy, got some ideas for her, but I want to see what this season's going to pop up some more and try to find some more for them.
Sweet, man.
I got them all right here, bro.
Yeah.
I also got my Birds Aren't Real membership card.
Nice.
I had an extra case or two, so I was like, let me just go ahead and put that one in a case.
Ooh, I should put my Order of the Hoo-Hoo card in a case. Oh, I do have it in a case. Never mind.
Babe, eat some more of this cookie dough.
Here, Skeeter. I'll try to show you.
All right, well, just leave it there.
I don't know if you can see,
more
right?
Oh,
there.
Yep. Cool.
I'm coming up with a plan to rearrange all this, make it all neat and stuff.
I'm sure you will too.
That's like this room. I've been slowly working on it for the last 4 months. Been slowly getting my collection in one room.
We got some pops back there.
Yep. Pops. Got swords, lightsabers, my books on mythology, creatures. Trying to find the Time Life collection, the black books that were so awesome, but it's hard to find a complete collection.
So, Skeeter, do you want me to introduce you as Skeeter? Is that how you want to be introduced?
That's what everybody calls me.
Cool. Easy.
Mm-hmm. New Glarus, do I see?
Yes. I am. Jake and I did a beer swap.
Mm-hmm.
And I am drinking the Staghorn Oktoberfest beer today.
It's good, isn't it?
That's pretty good.
It's really good, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of New Glarus. The only beer that I've tried from them that I don't like is Moondog. Not a big fan.
Yeah.
But Jake says I'm not going to like this either. So I'm going to try this one next.
Yeah, you're going to hate it.
Why am I going to hate it? Is it just because it's sweet?
It's just gross.
Is it like a cider kind of thing?
I guess.
It says raspberry tart. It's going to be real sour. I'm going to spit it out all over all my equipment. It's going to suck.
I hate sours.
Yeah?
No, I'm not a fan of sours.
I don't mind them. They're not bad.
I had one, actually. I think that was good. Like a blackberry sour, I think it was.
Mhm.
It was good.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I like a dark lager.
Hmm.
But being in Wisconsin, you got to try everything, or else you don't fit in.
I do like whiskey. Whiskey man.
My job is having its picnic at Lucettes. You ever been to Lucettes here in Menominee?
No, I haven't been there yet.
Oh man, great pizza. Love the pizza. It's phenomenal. Best pizza around. Um, but they have this beer. It's called the Farmer's Daughter, and it's really good.
Huh.
Really, really good. Jake, you tried something that wasn't that bad last time. Do you remember what that was?
The the thing. Oh,
Yeah.
look it up.
The thing.
Nah, you're good. I was just making a
That
combo.
sounds like a good beer name.
Yeah,
I got a
Double Dawn.
Double Dawn. That's right. It was the double the dawn.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll give it another 2 more minutes and we'll go ahead and start the episode.
Yeah, I think we got 4 or 5 viewers on Twitch right now.
Ah, we got
Shout
5.
out.
Look at that. We got
Shout out to the viewers on Twitch. If you aren't already in the groups on Facebook, well, you must be, right? Because that's how you saw the links.
Well,
Yeah.
I posted it on Twitter and Twitter too. Yeah.
See.
See.
Or
see,
X.
See.
I did. I guess we can kind of talk about that too. Here, I'll grab it.
Is there background noise right now? Can you guys hear my
A little bit.
cousin playing or watching foosball?
Hey now.
Sorry.
Foosball? Oh shoot! Hold on.
Careful,
I'll be right
sir.
back.
Nothing I could do about that. Apparently, that's a thing. So
It's a thing. It's a thing. Normal people watch football. It's just what we do.
No, normal
bet
people
me
watch
my-
Star Wars.
yeah, I was gonna say I'm not quite the normal people type.
Now, Skeeter.
I'm a big Star Wars fan. Sorry.
I know a lot of people who are.
Mm-hmm. Stick to the original 3.
I just got it. I just figured out what you did there, Skeeter, with the
Yep.
Star Wars thing.
It went way over my head. It's gone.
That's funny.
I mean, I do got the lightsabers back here. I got the dark blade and then Darth Vader's lightsaber. So
Yeah, Jeremy. So you know the lightsaber is the thing that Will Smith held up and it flashed and it erased your memory.
That's a neuralizer.
Oh, okay.
oh, he
damn,
knows that one.
I almost had him.
We all know the lightsaber is the thing that the guy wears across his face,
Yeah,
right?
on the Enterprise.
You shoot like laser beams out and kill all his enemies.
I hate you, Jeremy.
I know. All right, you guys ready to roll?
Yeah.
Sure.
Ready to roll.
All right. Welcome back to the Infinite Rabbit Hole podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy, and tonight we got a special guest in the house, but I'm going to introduce him last. First, we're going to go to Jeff today. Jeff with the Bigfoot hat. What's up, dude?
Oh, what's up?
Hey,
How you doing?
You got to put the microphone in your face.
It's in my face, man. How you doing?
Good. What you drinking tonight, man?
Water.
What?
Good old water out of a plastic cup.
We got water.
Yep.
Well, that sucks. I'm sorry.
It's water. It's okay because I also have a tray of cookie dough here.
Oh, see. Yeah.
I'm just eating.
I guess cookie dough doesn't really go well with liquor, huh?
I'm just eating cookie dough.
Living life, man. Just
Hey, man.
living it.
USA.
Moving on. Yakub, what's up, dude?
You used my original name.
Yes.
Gosh, I had a long day, but dude, the chickens are laying eggs now.
Yeah. We're
Isn't
gonna
that
have
dope. So
we're gonna
yeah,
have
we had-
scrambled eggs, fried eggs,
we had
omelets,
5 of them today.
boiled
so it's
eggs.
only a couple chickens so far, but yeah, and they freaked out, and we took them. The the hens that laid them were just like in the middle of the run, just howling, just they're so mad, and it's just like they're not fertilized. We're taking these from you.
They took
You
our
know,
babies.
Yeah, they
you know
took
what you
our
do is you pick the eggs up and then you throw them, and there's a chance that a chick will hatch when it.
Oh yeah, like honeycomb. Yeah,
Based off of pure science, by the way.
definitely science. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. And me and Whitney went and saw the new Beetlejuice movie, and you know what? It was okay. I told Whitney, I was like, it wasn't a waste of time, but I'd be okay with never seeing it again.
I heard it was a direct sequel.
Yeah, and
Really?
it was.
Yeah.
They tried a little bit too hard, I think.
You want to
But
guess what I never saw?
the first one,
That's right.
yeah, because
That's
you're
right.
garbage,
Wow.
and everyone
Some-
knows.
Sometimes some people refer to me as garbage. Some
Yeah.
people don't.
Oh,
But
and I took Jeremy's kids while he was at work. I snatched them up and I took them down, and we explored a creek behind the house. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy they have a father figure. Appreciate
Yeah.
that.
You're
You should
welcome.
probably phrase that differently next time you tell that story.
So I took them without permission, and
Like I snatched them up and took
Yeah,
them down to the river.
I
to
stole
see
them and took them down to the river in a van with no windows.
That's messed
Oh,
up, man.
Lord.
Well, while he was there, Jacob got me a gift.
I
Do you see
did.
this? See this? Look at it. It is the Yeti Lager and Bigfoot Brew House. It's a little Halloween decoration. Check that thing out.
Nice.
Yeah, it's got a little Yeti and a werewolf and like a mermaid or siren. I don't know what it is. It's one of the two. Pretty sweet. Thanks, Jake.
You're welcome, dude.
I'm at work and I get a text. It's like, hey, I left something on Jake's desk or on Jeremy's desk, and I was like, shit. He took crap on my desk. Nope.
You never know.
I'm happy to learn that it was not a pile of shit sitting on my desk. It's actually a nice piece of art. I appreciate that.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to why everybody's here today. We have a guest in the house. We actually got to meet this guest face to face at UFO Days in Elmwood this year. The one, the only, the great Skeeter. What's up, man?
Howdy, everybody.
So, Skeeter, I've had questions for a long time.
Yeah.
And I was saving it for right now. How do you deal with this podcast?
I actually, when I first started listening to you guys a few years back, I was like, okay, I'm digging it. It was when you guys would always bicker over and you kind of shoot off topic a couple times. But I like that because it's more, you don't feel it's scripted too much. You know, it's loose play, talking. And that's what got me hooked on you guys because you guys were always like you say a lot of times, you don't have that echo chamber. And I really dug that mostly about your show was there was nobody 100% agreed with the other person.
Good. How'd you find us?
I was going through on Spotify and I was just searching stuff and I was listening to another show that was almost the same title and I just like, oh, Infinite Rabbit Hole, there we go. And I was looking for the Infinite UFO Rabbit Hole and I was like, oh, and I was like, well, this isn't what I was listening before. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I'll check them out. They got some good topics. I'm like, all right, this is pretty awesome. And then I was listening to, what's her name?
Asher's?
No, not Asher's. It was a different show. Gosh, I haven't listened to her podcast in a while. She lives in Vegas.
Ooh, are you talking? Was I a guest?
Yeah, you were a guest on it.
Was it the Re-Paranormal show?
Here, hold on. I'll just
No.
I'll take it. But I heard you pop on there. I'm like, oh, maybe I should really go back and the catalog and listen to the the older episodes, and that's when, I was like, okay, I really got hooked on the show from the earlier ones, even though I started halfway through. But yeah, that's where I got to really like you guys when I accidentally stumbled on you. And then I heard how your story happened. And I was like, oh, wow, that's really cool that he's actually going through. Oh, it was into the Fray radio.
Oh, Shannon LeGros.
Yeah, Shannon LeGros. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where I heard your story, and I was like, oh, I'm going to go back to the beginning and listen to every episode. So that's why I started deep diving into the show, and yeah, I just fell in love with the guys just from the beginning. Well,
Shannon's a class act, man.
Mm-hmm.
They do a lot of stuff. She was recently working with a good friend of ours, Jason Hewlett, on his Cursed Waters, the Ogopogo story.
Yep.
Through that Small Town Monsters branding that they do. So she's been quite busy, but she's supposed to come on the show at some point.
Nice.
But we'll see. She's a very, very busy person, and she likes to answer her emails like 4 months after you send them.
That sounds about right.
But no, she's great. Shannon LeGros is awesome. Well, I'm happy to have you with us, man.
No, happy to be on.
It was nice meeting you at UFO Days.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why we have you on today is because you have some stories to tell us.
Yes, I do.
You have stories, Skeeter?
What's that?
You have stories? You come at us with personalized playing cards that have our own things on it, and then you're going to come at us with stories too?
I'd say experiences more than stories, because stories sounds like you make it up, but I had quite a few experiences.
Well, Jake, Jeff, do you guys have any questions or any comments before we get going?
No, man. Just thanks again for the card that you brought to us at UFO Days. That was cool.
Yeah, so, thanks for the shout out on the previous episode.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, man. I have one more thing to read off. I'm gonna do this from now on. Whenever we get a review, whether it's positive or negative. What? What are you
reacting to your announcement? Good. Was that too much?
No, it was just perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
I feel very important now. Well, we got a 5-star review the other day. It's been a long time since we got a review. This comes from Haley, so I want to say thank you to Haley. Her review reads, if you're a fan of all things strange, mysterious, and out of this world, this podcast is a must listen. From UFOs and hollow earth theories to Bigfoot sightings and ancient mythologies, dives deep into the weirdest corners of science fiction and beyond. The hosts have a knack for making even the wildest theories sound plausible, blending humor and thought-provoking discussions. Whether you're a seasoned conspiracy theorist or just dipping your toes into the unknown, this show is an entertaining and mind-bending journey. Buckle up, because this ride gets wild. Well, thank you very much. I really do appreciate that, Haley. That's awesome. And again, like Jeff said last time, if you're in the chat, do not click on any links in the chat. They are not posted by us. So we have a couple people or somebody jumped in the chat.
Yeah,
posted a couple links.
Some scammers in there. Listen, what we need to do, we'll make somebody, one of my people, the moderator for next time, so we can just kick people out and delete chats like that.
Okay. Well, I don't know if we ever actually announced it on the show yet, but we've been going live on Sundays. So there's that. Yeah. Hey, that's Haley right there, by the way. That Get Woke 444. That is Haley. That is the person who left that amazing review. So thank you, Haley. I see you're here. I appreciate that. All right. You guys ready to roll?
Ready to roll.
Skeeter, what do we have the pleasure of hearing first, man?
I'd say UFOs. There's been a lot of sightings between myself and my wife. Even we've had a lot of crazy experiences in the past.
Yeah.
So But yeah, ever since I was a kid, I've always looked up at the sky. I always had that curiosity: is space real? Is there an end? There has to be an end. All the fun conspiracy theories or even thought provoking ideas of space I went through my whole life, still
Yeah.
undecided. But always staring at the sky. And then all of a sudden I started, geez. I remember when I was, around 10, I was just sitting in our yard. Uh, Actually, this is the house I grew up in. I bought it from my parents. But out this window, there's a roof, and I just lay on that at night and stare at the sky. Well, one night I'm staring, and I'm like watching satellites fly by because I knew what they looked like. And all of a sudden, I see one flying. It's a little brighter than normal. And I'm just watching away, relaxed, like, oh, that's cool. It's must be really low. And the next thing you know, it just stops. And I'm like, well, okay. I waited a few seconds. It still stood there, or just floating in the sky. And next thing you know, it's just slowly getting bigger. And I'm like, well, is it getting brighter or is it getting closer? Which still to this day could not figure out. And next thing I know, it just poof, gone, just
Hmm.
vanished.
So
That was probably one of the earliest ones I could remember.
So before we continue,
Hmm?
I think it's important to talk a little bit about location, right? So you're from Wisconsin. You're
Yep.
local to us. How far are you away from Elmwood?
From Elmwood, it was just an hour and 15-minute drive. So to get to Menominee is or no, it's an hour and a half to Elmwood and an hour and 15 to get to Menominee.
Oh, okay. So you're not far away at all.
No.
You're well within the range of all the weird shit that happens in Elmwood to spread over to you, right?
Yep.
Because I've recently come across some pretty cool stories from Menominee.
Oh, nice.
Probably not enough to do a whole episode on, but at some point maybe we can scrap together something. But yeah, man. So it was pretty far up there though, you said, right?
Yeah, it was quite a ways up, and then it just kept getting bigger. I'd say about the size of a water bottle cap. That was
Oh.
about as big as the ball of light got, and then gone.
So
So
about the size of the moon if you're standing on the ground.
a little smaller.
A little smaller than that?
Yeah, but like I said, it just kept getting brighter or bigger. I wasn't sure, so who knows? If it's just
So
getting brighter or bigger.
was it a light or do you believe it was a solid object?
It was a solid whitish blue light,
Hmm.
and it just, like I said, I thought it was a satellite going by at first, and then it just stopped, and it just blew me away that it just froze. And it just like, well, that doesn't do, satellites don't do that. They don't just stop. So after that, yeah, I started researching into UFOs and kind of got picked on in school because I was the guy in the library checking out all the UFO books, but it didn't bother me. So
It's all right. When I first told my my Bigfoot story to one of my really good friends, after I watched In Search of and found out that there was such an animal as Bigfoot, and I made the connection as to what I saw in Vermont when I was a kid. I tried to say the word Sasquatch, right, and I didn't quite remember what it was, and it came out something like Sammy Squanch or something stupid, and he was just like, "What are you talking about, dude? Like, shut up." So I myself also went into hiding and was that weird kid. No worries, man. You're
I've
with
outgrown
family.
it. I'm still a weirdo. I don't care. That's who I am.
Jake, Jeff, you guys got any questions about that one?
Sorry,
Nope.
It was hard to hit the unmute button. So this light was tiny. It was a tiny light.
Yeah, started off like when you normally would see a satellite in the sky,
Yeah.
just a little dot in the sky.
Jake, you're right. This thing tastes like shit.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Are you, Skeeter, are you by an airport by chance?
The closest airport back then, it's moved since then, was about 2.5 miles away from here. Now the airport is about 6 miles, 7 miles away from me.
Are you in the traffic pattern for takeoffs or landings?
The only traffic pattern that I'm in is for the helicopter for the hospital.
Okay.
So the plane traffic, if it is, it's super high. And, growing up, just watching the sky all the time, I learned what planes were. And I had a cousin that was married to a pilot, and he always told us, how to tell a plane at night. So it's like, all right.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's the only thing I was curious about, because I was like, if you're in the traffic pattern for landings, like on the other side of the runway, then seeing that bright nose light that they have from way out here and then getting closer and closer and closer would make sense. It's not uncommon for people to mistake helicopters or planes for UFOs.
Yeah.
shoot, they did it in Elmwood
Yeah, they did in Elmwood a bunch.
a couple times.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm the, my little title says, expert skeptic. So I'm like, always trying to find out, okay, well, what could this be rationally? But even myself, I've seen things that, I couldn't explain in a rational sense without getting into, the paranormal or, whatever.
Jake has a wild video from when he was in the service.
I saw that.
Oh, you did?
Showed me that.
That's freaking awesome.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Never
So
saw
he's
something that cool though.
He's definitely seen some weird shit. You saw something while you're on the West Coast too, didn't you?
Yeah. I saw a shiny. I'm not going to say it was a disc because I couldn't really tell you, but it was very reflective. But it was hovering above the mountaintop, where all the radar antennas were for the base. So
you're talking about the one right next to the gate there, where you get on the Pacific Coast Highway.
Yeah. So because the whole base is kind of sitting inside of a bowl, so they put the radar antennas on top of that really tall mountain back there.
Yep.
So that it can, fan out to all the planes and all the helos and everything circling around. But it was there for a good, I'm driving, so I can't really whip out my phone and take a picture, and I'm also turning. But yeah, it was sitting up there just still and really reflective, and I was like, I don't know what that is,
Clearly swamp gas.
Yes.
What's that? Oh yeah, swamp gas from Venus. But yeah, so I mean, but even still, for myself, if I see something weird, I try to look at it in a logical sense of like, what could this have been other than, a UFO. It's like, obviously it's unidentified. I don't know what it is, but what could it be, right? Type stuff. So I don't know. Just curious.
Oh yeah.
I came across a really, really cool topic while doing research for another topic today. The Captain Thomas Mantell UFO case. Just as a brief synopsis, right? He was a military pilot, and he was chasing what he believed to be a UFO, and he was the very first casualty of such an act in the United States military history. That's on record, at least. But the official statement from the military is that he was chasing Venus. He wasn't chasing a UFO. He was chasing the planet Venus. So we're going to dive into that one here soon.
Yeah, okay.
I know that story.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts, man. And
we kept climbing and climbing, and yeah,
the things that they'll tell you, to it's just absolutely ridiculous.
A trained pilot. This is like who was this?
This was captain. I don't know. I think it was Air Force. So I think a captain in the Air Force. Jake, was that 03, 02?
I don't know.
Something like that.
They got weird ranks. I don't know about the Air Force.
Yeah, I think it's a lower ranked officer. Obviously, within active pilot, they're still working on their qualifications and everything at that rank. And yeah, he was basically, I wouldn't say dogfighting because there were no ammunitions involved, but he was definitely chasing what he believed to be a flying saucer or some sort of UFO. I don't know yet. I haven't
Yes,
dove.
it is an 03 in both the Army, Marines, and the Air Force and
Yeah.
the Space Force.
It is an 05 in the United States Navy.
Mm-hmm.
Just so you know, Jake, in case you didn't know.
Mm.
All right, Skeeter, back to you, man. So, how many UFOs have you seen?
I quit counting after 100 because up here in the Northwoods, as you guys are now
Yeah.
experiencing, there's spots you could go out in the country, no light pollution, and
Oh yeah.
get beautiful sky views. And up here in my area, in the Barron County area, it's a lot of space.
Hmm.
Where I'm at in Rice Lake, yeah, it's the brightest area. And then Eau Claire is an hour away.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are an hour and a quarter. Yeah, it's very dark once you get past the big cities.
Hmm.
So growing up, that's late nights. That's all I did. Stare at the sky. Um, you guys did a story about Elmwood, and I was like, it just clicked a memory right back in my head that my wife and I experienced several times. I mean, for I'd say 4 or 5 years, we watched this orange light that had a black center to it, but
Huh.
it always pulse. It would always get small, then big, then small and big. And when we lived outside of town, we were always driving the same road. It wasn't every night, but maybe 2 times a week we'd see it. And we always said, one of these nights we're going to chase that down and figure out what that is. And every time we'd like, all right, we got a full tank of gas, let's go. So we'd start driving after it, gone. But we could sit on the side of the road and watch it for a half hour before it totally vanished.
Really?
If it like knew as soon as we were going to chase it down, gone. Just never saw it again. And then we moved from the country into town and we haven't seen it for years. And then last week it happened. Well, now it'd be 2 weeks ago. And I shot you guys a message saying I saw it, that orange light again. And I was going to pull over the side of the road, take a picture. Trees got in the way, so I pulled up a little further and gone. I just watched it zip right out of existence again.
That's wild.
But Elmwood had the same story, and I
Yeah.
didn't know that story until you guys told it. The stories I knew, they just saw a light in the sky. Never told us it was that orangish yellow light, and I was like, "Oh wow, what a coincidence!" It's like it moved up the state.
Yeah. Yeah, that orange light was pretty prevalent in Elmwood stories. And I was really trying hard to try to find somebody from Elmwood that would talk about things. We have somebody that we do need to reach out to, Jacob, and talk to that person about their story.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, be able to retell that here on the show. I don't know what we're going to be able to do with it as of right now, but it seemed that Elmwood would have two separate major craft in the sky, right? They would have the metallic saucer shaped craft that everyone is used to, right? The flying saucer. And then they had this bright orange light. Now, the orange one, there were a couple cases in Elmwood throughout the history, throughout the 70s, where the orange light actually broke off into smaller, white lights and red lights. Did you ever see anything like that?
No, I've
No.
never seen that. But I'll tell you another story here in a bit that'll make you really wonder.
Well, go ahead. Let's hear it.
So, back when I had my day job, I kind of left it after 20 and a half years, but we used to do a lot of overtime, and I'd get there about 4 in the morning along with a couple other people, and right around 5:45, 6 o'clock, me and this one lady would always go out and smoke cigarettes, have our break before the day shift comes in. So we're out there one day smoking and talking, and all of a sudden we kind of looked over to the, sun hasn't came up yet. We're looking in the sky, and I'm like, well, that's weird. And she even saw it too, and she goes, yeah, it looks like an actual 5-pointed star, like like a silver star in the sky.
Mhm.
We're like, whoa, that's weird. And we're like, I've never seen a star look like that. And then it kept getting closer. It was moving in the sky like it was about to go over us. And we're watching the star, and we're like, well, that's weird. It must be a light off a plane. Definitely
Hmm.
has to be, because the airport is not far from that direction where it's flying. So we're thinking, light on the front of the plane, and it seems looks like a 5-pointed star. So we're sitting talking, and all of a sudden we look at it again. All of a sudden we see it go from a star to like a blob. And then the next thing we know, it went to a straight triangle. And I'm like, okay, that's really weird. And then we watched it as it floated above us, no sound at all. So not like a jet engine or anything. But the weird part about the way it looked when it turned that triangle form
Hmm.
was, if you know what a migraine aura looks like in an eye. If you ever have a migraine and you get one of the
Yes.
optical auras,
Yes.
where it's like that weird
Mhm.
lighted effect, um, that's what it looked like. It wasn't bright white like a whitish silver like it started. It was looking like that, and she couldn't even describe how the color looked. She's like, I don't even know how to describe that. And
Hmm.
I'm like, yeah, I'm like, it kind of reminds me of my migraines when I get an aura, um, a fleck, or in my eye, and she's like, didn't know what that was. So I had to show her a video of it, and she's like, yeah, that's what it looked like. So we thought that was really weird. She got spooked, didn't want to talk about it again. But the crazy part is, almost a year later, almost to the day, we're out on break early in the morning again. Here it comes again.
Hmm.
Same way, started as a star, went to like that blob, and then to a triangle as it went over us, and still had that migraine aura look to it. It was just weird. It just that was the craziest one. That's the only one I saw shape shift besides going small to large.
Few things stand out to me. One, so you're saying you saw a flying pentagram? Yeah.
Yeah, like like the kids' gold stars you get, but it was like
Yeah.
a whitish silver.
Huh.
It was That's what stuck out, and that's what made me think, oh, it's an aircraft. The light shining out from the nose, but didn't stay that way.
Hmm. Interesting. And then the aura is also interesting. Obviously, Jeff will tell you the U.S. government, they won't tell you, but will tell you that they use cloaking technology. So curious if that was like a test or something along those lines. And then TR3B. That's the first thing that came to my mind.
Hmm.
Jeffrey, TR3B. You had nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe it could have been. I mean, if it's early in the morning, I'm thinking it's probably light reflections off the sun. I mean, I didn't see it. You know what I mean? So it's hard for me to just,
You talking about the aura?
Well, no, the aura is like weird, but the star, like it's shape shifting. To me, like that could be sun reflection angle, angle of light off of an aircraft, and it's just like that reflection could be shifting shapes, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, when you're looking up at it and it's doing some weird aura thing, that I don't understand.
I had to look up what a migraine aura was. I've never
Yeah,
had
a lot
that.
of people don't know what it is.
So I was like, Jeremy's like, yeah, of course. And I was like, okay. So I'm gonna look this one up. That's interesting.
Yeah, it
Well,
fluctuates.
I
Had
get
headaches
migraines,
so
man.
bad that I freaking started seeing colors that weren't there.
So my left eye, I get like a little blurry spot, like closer to
Yeah.
like the inside of my eye. Like you can kind of see it right, I don't know, right in front of my nose. It'd be like this little blurry spot right there whenever I get my migraines.
I
And it's
get it on
always the same
outside
spot.
of my right.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. Damn Navy. Speaking of Navy, just so nobody chews my head off listening, Jake was so kind to correct me. A captain is an 06 in the Navy. Thanks, Jake.
Yeah, I was counting it out. I was like, Ensign, JG, Lieutenant, Lieutenant, Commander, Captain.
Yeah. What a dumbass.
Mm.
It's all right. I served as enlisted. I wasn't one of those people.
Yep. Never made it to khakis.
What a scumbag, man. Let me tell you.
Yeah. We're garbage.
Yeah.
So Skeeter, let's have a little fun here, man. What do you think is in our skies? What do you think it is?
I can't totally settle on one. I got a lot of thought possibilities. I mean, from is it physical? Is it not? Could it be interdimensional? Or could it be from our own planet? Uh, it's hard to nail down for me, to nail down on one concise thing because until I could touch it and or get a closer experience on it, I can't give an exact answer.
Well, I've recently bounced back and forth on what I believe some of it is, but let's narrow it down a little bit, right?
Yeah.
There's a good possibility of it. I really do believe so. Let's narrow it down a little bit. Let's break them up into categories, right? So the orange light.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any theories?
That I mean, I can understand where people get that. UFOs have a psychic connection and be able to hear your thoughts, but at the same time, just to pick out one car on a road on a big area and who knows how far away it was. That I mean, I could see as a possibility because every time we had a full tank and we said we're going to go chase it down, it would disappear. But any other times we could sit and watch it, for 30 minutes before it totally like fade away. Just go from big bright orange down to a tiny dot and gone. So that one I don't know. Could be physical, but psychic connection. Now this silver star that transformed into like a blob to that triangle, like perfect crisp triangle. That one I could say could be interdimensional. Um, because it could be from a dimension that we cannot see that well. And the way I saw it and the way the witness that was with me that saw it was like, even today, she still won't talk about it. But when it's just her and I, she'll tell me, yeah, just don't talk about that anymore. It still creeps me out that we saw that. But the way, the look of it, it made me wonder, yeah, is that something interdimensional from a different, like, fourth, fifth dimension that we just cannot perceive? And this is the only way I could perceive it.
You guys got any questions for him? Comments?
Spiritual beings are on a different dimensional plane. That's all I gotta say.
Possible.
Yeah, I agree with that. We've had this conversation 1,000 times.
Yep.
I don't know if they're spiritual beings. That's not.
I'm still waiting for you to tell us this big news that you've apparently cracked the code that you're going to make us wait until who knows when
To Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. I thought
The
you said
Thanksgiving
Halloween.
episode. Oh, maybe it's the Halloween one.
See, you don't even know.
I'm working on
Oh my.
two different topics at the same time, man. I'm working on a
Okay.
Thanksgiving and a Halloween topic right now as we speak. I'm doing this and research right now.
How about what's today's date? The 8th?
Like,
How
Yeah.
about you reveal it now for the 9/11
ooh.
special?
No.
9/11 special. Wow.
This
Jeez.
isn't even the episode that's coming out this week. We have the two government UFO episodes coming out, and then this one.
All right, whatever.
Yeah. So you don't make any sense, man. Stop sucking, dude.
Whatever, dude.
All right. Let's see. Do you have any other left field UFO sightings?
I have one other.
Okay.
Being in northern Wisconsin, everybody loves hunting. I was out deer hunting one time, and I was during bow hunting season, so all the leaves were still on the trees and pretty green and just starting to die out for the year. But I was standing in my stand, and I'd had a nice 4x4 platform, and I was 10 feet off the ground, and no wind. It was a nice day out, a little warmer than I'd like to be because I'm in a full ghillie suit with my bow and arrow. And out of nowhere, I hear the wind picking up. And I'm like, okay. So I look behind me and nothing's moving, but I could hear leaves moving. And I'm like, well, that's strange. I'm like, well, maybe the breeze is coming slowly. So I kept watching and watching. And all of a sudden, just one spot of tree branches and leaves were fluttering. This was like a direct breeze, and it just slowly went right alongside me, about 20 feet away. I could watch all the tree branches and leaves moving in this one spot, and went from behind me all the way in front of me. And I watched it go down because I was up on a hillside, watching it making about a 40 to 50-foot pattern of leaves moving. But when it went past, none of the other leaves are moving. It's just this one spot. Like it was a fully cloaked. Whatever was there, I could not see, but it was disrupting the leaves like wind was blowing. And I was watching it go all the way across the wood line until I couldn't see on the other side of the hill when it went over that way. So that was about a quarter mile. I watched that travel.
Speaking of cloaking, I watched a video. It was an interview with a guy who bought completely into the Richard Sharp shaver mystery that we talked about in the Hollow Earth special, about the Dairos and the Taros in the underworld, with the world of the Titans, and he basically regurgitated his past life as Moten Mayon, this semi. I'm not going to even try to explain it. Listen to the episode. Anyways, so this guy was completely buying into the shaver mystery, and he was coming up with all these explanations and everything. And one of the things that he talked about was about how the Dairos can cloak themselves. And when you hear about cloaked creatures, such as people have these weird encounters with a cloaked Sasquatch, which is supposedly a common one, or a cloaked dogman, or cloaked alien beings, cloaked UFOs, some sort of craft, right? He explained that it was the Dairos that were talked about in the shaver mystery. Now, I don't know if I 100% buy that. I don't know if I 10% buy that. I don't, actually. I do know that. I don't. But I don't know. I heard that and I was like, I bet you this guy would say that that's the Dairos. Yeah.
Yeah,
Jake agrees. Jake is a big fan of the Dairos. He's like, yep, definitely the Dairos.
Yeah, man. I mean, if anyone has ever listened to any of our podcast episodes, they just know I just rattle on and on and on about the Dairos.
That's right.
Just never shut up about them.
Sometimes I have to tell you to shut up about
Yeah,
them.
it's like, all right, dude, enough
embarrassing.
about the Dairos.
Wouldn't it be crazy to find out if like this just the whole time for all of human history there's just been this ancient alien, not even alien, right? They're here. This ancient cloakable being, right? Like predators were running around. Maybe that's how like all the people are missing, all that crazy stuff is just there's actual predators on this planet running around.
Well, I've always thought that there's something in the national park system, right? I mean, we haven't done a national park mysteries episode since I don't know. Yeah, it's been a long time.
Like a year and a half.
We're sort of making a comeback with that with the Thanksgiving episode. Sort of. A little bit. It's a mystery. It's not necessarily about national parks, but it is interesting. It's around that same genre. So anybody who liked the National Park Mystery series that we used to do, got something special for you coming for Thanksgiving. If you hang tight till the end of the episode, I will let you know what it is, and I will delete it for everybody else that's listening and not watching. Yeah. So just like I did with the last episode when I spilled the beans on the Halloween series. But anyways, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, that's right. The national, the cloaked beings and the national park system. Jeff, I wouldn't be surprised, man. I wouldn't be surprised. I do think that a lot of this stuff is connected, right? Specifically, I'm going to talk about Hollow Earth and the national park system, Teddy Roosevelt, and his obsession with hunting creatures or mythological creatures such as the snallygaster and a couple. I think he tried to. Man, what was the name of that freaking? There's like a something bear down in Africa that he wanted to go hunt too. And then he had that run in with a Bigfoot. I believe that Teddy Roosevelt set aside the national parks and created the national park system to hide something. I mean, these things are vast, they're big. There's tons of cave systems. If you look at cave system maps of the United States, and then you overlay the missing 411 map right on top of it, where you have all of David Paulides' clusters, you will see that these national parks are specifically laid right over clusters of cave systems. So it's definitely some interesting stuff. I wouldn't be surprised, Jeffrey, if it was the Dairos. See, Jake, I put it in there for you. If it was the Dairos coming up through the ground of these national parks and cloaking themselves. Now, I recently did more research into another topic, the Halloween topic. And if anybody knows who Albert K. Bender is, then you will know what the Halloween topic is. But I'm not going to say it out loud. You guys have to Google that and you guys will figure it out. But Albert K. Bender was also a component to the idea of Dairos being on the earth and having the ability to cloak themselves both on the ground and in craft. Now, the Shaver mystery was just absolutely stock full of interplanetary traveling in through large holes in the earth to get down to the hollow. So I would think that if the Earth is hollow, it would have more than just two large entrances at the north and south. In fact, I don't even think those are there. I think that there's other entrances speckled across the world, and I think that here in the United States, the national park system would be a perfect cover for those. It's going to shake your head, Jeff. You're not going to say anything.
Yeah, agreed. No, I think definitely there's probably some, let's say, untouched natural ones in some national parks probably, but I think some of the ancient temples and things like that may also be built on top of some of these entrances, maybe under the pyramids, right? Or some of these super intricate like Indian temples that you see, like maybe somewhere down in there, Indiana Jones found like a tunnel into the inner earth or something.
Well, you had those pyramids that were, basically carbon prints. You had the Aztecs, and then you had a bunch in Asia.
Right.
In various parts of the world, you had these architecture. That's pretty much, like I said, carbon prints of architecture from halfway around the world.
And
That's
Now-
because they were built by demonic Nephilim prior to the flood, and then you can't throw in a bunch of water and expect all that stuff to move. So they all stayed there, and then people, when they showed up at those spots, moved in and took them over.
Yeah, there he is talking about the Dairos again. Just
Mhm.
so.
Obviously, I mean, if you weren't such a lepton, you'd know.
I don't know what that is.
Neither do I.
Is that an actual word?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna Google that real quick then.
You're acting like a nematode right now.
I know what a nematode is.
Yeah, well, that's what you are. Not
A
knowing
lepton
about
is
the-
a particle in physics. A lepton is an elementary particle of half integer spin and a half that does not undergo strong interactions.
How did you not know that already?
I don't know.
Yeah.
What an idiot, man. Let me tell you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're an idiot.
Cool. Good stuff, man. Skeeter, do you have anything other than UFOs?
I've had many ghost experiences. The joy of where I'm at now is one block over is the cemetery. So I've played in that cemetery since I was a kid. I never really got spooked by cemeteries, probably because I grew up next to one. But a lot of different ghost experience. The craziest one I'd have to tell you is when I was in high school, everyone knew I was the guy who was into weird stuff.
Yeah.
And like I said, still, yeah, I'm proud to be weird. Everybody else is weird. I'm normal.
Wear like a badge, man.
Yep.
It's good stuff.
And I had some guys take me out. Some school kids are like, "Oh, we heard about this haunted house, and you know a lot about ghosts. Can you help us?" And I kind of had a feeling it was a setup. I'm like, "Yeah, they're just gonna try to ditch me out in the middle of nowhere," which I figured. And luckily, it wasn't too far out of town, and I knew where they took me was this one old rickety house that was very decrepit, about to fall apart. And there's a cemetery about a quarter mile from it that always has been haunted. Everyone always said so, but supposedly the haunting of that cemetery related to this house, which it didn't when I researched it. But they wanted to show me that they saw something. They want me to help them understand what's going on, and so we're walking up to this house. Like, oh, we'll go around try to find other ways in. So we're crawling between boards and old broken windows, and I'm getting ready for them to take off. So I'm kind of half listening for them to run and watching where I'm going in the dark. And I started walking into this one room, and I'm like, yep, here's the setup. White apparition, like somebody in a real thin cotton sheet over them, lighting up from underneath. I'm like, yeah, this is a setup for me. So I was kind of mad, and I thought, well, I'll just tackle down whoever it is. So I ran towards it, and it's sitting by this window looking out at it, and I ran along the wall to tackle it down. Nothing. Just reached with my arms to grab. Nothing. Went right through it. But when I was going through it, is the weirdest thing happened was it was like mist mixed with static electric. It was the weirdest feeling I ever felt, and that's the only explanation I can think of what it felt like was like a mist with static electric in it. It just and next thing I knew, I was on the floor, turned around, nobody was there. Somebody screamed outside, and they started running, and yep, they were yelling, "Ghost, ghost, ghost, run, run," and they left me out in the middle of nowhere. But luckily, I had a friend that lived a half mile away, so it was a short walk. But I've never thought an apparition would actually have like that sheet look. So, because ghosts I've seen before that were just like normal human, just a little more paler.
So I don't know much about ghosts, right? I don't.
Mhm.
I know about some urban legends that are based around ghosts, like the Lady in White,
Mhm.
which is the first thing that came to my mind when you were saying that. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know a ton. That was CJ's specialty, and we no longer have CJ as a
He's dead.
host.
Mhm.
He's
So
not dead.
he's
He's
dead to
doing
us.
he's doing a podcast about autism now, and it's actually
Oh,
really
nice.
awesome. It's a really good show. He hasn't.
Okay, fine. Now that I know that he's not dead to
Yeah,
us.
he's doing some really good stuff. Proud of CJ. But we don't have a host that specializes in this stuff anymore. So if anybody listening that is a specialist in this stuff that thinks that they can take shit from Jake, Jeff, and I,
And we're a bunch of naysayers, so
we are a bunch of
saddle
naysayers.
up, Seabiscuit.
um, the closest thing, and I don't even know if it was a spirit, but the closest experience I ever had was on the USNS Comfort when they were telling stories about this little girl that runs around the halls and an old janitor. And one night I was sleeping and I got the big toe on my left foot pulled, and I was like, because I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Sleeping in the Navy is awkward, right? Especially in the rack that I was in, because we didn't have solid walls, especially in between the feet. So I was constantly playing footsies with the guy like at my feet. His feet were he's a tall guy. I'm not a very tall guy. So his feet used to come into my my little area here, and he would be doing some late night stuff, and I'd be like, dude, you gotta fucking stop that shit, right? Because I gotta be up soon. Stop it, knock it off, go do that in the bathroom. So,
Cranking.
oh man, let me tell you, I don't know, something about 2 o'clock in the morning. This guy just loved. I don't know what it was, but and then one night,
Gross.
like I just felt this felt like somebody with two little fingers just grabbed my big toe, because I sleep on my on my stomach, and my feet were kind of pointed down, obviously, and I just felt my big toe get pulled out into or out of the rack, and I'm like, whoa, like dude, stop that shit. And all of a sudden I hear a little girl just just like running away. I'm like, whoa. That was the only thing that I've ever had, and I mean, that thing that woke me out of a dead sleep. So I mean, I can't 100% say that it was a spirit. I can't 100% say it was a little girl, but I can tell you what I felt and what I heard, or what I believe I heard, you know. And that's the closest thing that I have, right? I don't have any other experiences when it comes to supernatural beings, spirits or ghosts or poltergeists or the such. So I really don't have a lot of information for you on that, but it is pretty interesting, man. Definitely cool.
I have had several, I guess you could call them ghost experiences. And the last one, I told him straight to his face, it's like, ghosts aren't real. And he's like, oh. And he went away. And I was like, get off my porch. I'm not giving you any candy. It could have been in a costume. I don't know. But anyway, it was during Halloween. So I don't know. Well, the jury's still out on that one. But no, I've had several experiences like that. I don't know. I have such mixed emotions when it comes to ghosts, because it's always some story of like some, 1800s or whatever sort of like horrible murder, blah, 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 all this sort of stuff. It's never the hipster that dropped his vape and went back to get it and got slammed by a bus or something, It's just like, oh, he's always wandering around, the main street looking for his vape, ooh, have you seen my vape? Ooh, this sort of stuff. It's always just like some freaking like, oh, in the 1600s, in the Civil War. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, even like, young Earth folks like myself, like they'll tell you that like 85 billion people have existed on the Earth in the last like, 20,000 years. And it's like in the entirety of it, right? It's like, that's a lot of ghosts. That's, you're bumping into them at the beach, type stuff, just like, it's like, get off of me. It's everywhere, right? So I got such mixed emotions on it and stuff. But yeah, CJ was definitely our go-to guy for that. But even still, with all the stuff that he could rattle, I'd be like, yeah, you're full of crap. But even still, I've had plenty of, I guess, ghost experiences that I really can't explain. Like when I was in Pensacola, Florida for training this last time, I was basically, the general rule is for the barracks, the families, if you were coming to visit your sailor, could go in the lobby, but only the sailors could go to the second and third floor or fourth floor or whatever to go to their rooms. So they had to come down to you, so you had to call them down and that sort of stuff. So I'm coming downstairs. I'm on the second floor, and I see this little girl in a white ruffled dress, and she's, hauling around a corner. And I'm just like, oh, shoot, someone's daughter or whatever is on the loose, or younger sister, whatever. So I go and I turn this corner, and she's not there anymore. And I'm just like, okay. So I go downstairs to the main desk, and I tell the watch there, I say, hey, there's a little girl that's running around on the second floor. Just a heads up. And he was like, was she like a blonde with like a little white dress and stuff? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, she's a ghost. She's been haunting this base for like 100 years. And I'm just like, okay. And he's like, yeah, she was, I forgot the story, but she was like drowned at the beach or was murdered or something along the lines of that, whatever. But I ended up actually finding the archived news story of this little girl. And so it kind of tripped me out a little bit. I was like, that's a weird one. And then when I was in the Navy, the first, when we were in NAS Oceana, Virginia, the barracks we were in used to be, I guess, like a psych ward. And you could see by the lobby and the way everything was set up is definitely like, yeah, this used to be like a hospital. And they said the third floor where I slept was, or it was a small hospital, like an urgent care. And the third floor was like kind of like a impromptu psych ward type stuff. But I've seen light switches flick themselves on and off because I was roving, at 3:00 in the morning. The light switches have to be on because in case of emergency, you can't have, 500 people stumbling around in the dark, right? So, you can't see the light in the hallway in your bedrooms because there's a common area and then 2 separate bedrooms. So the lights have to stay on 24/7. And so I'm roving every hour and someone's jacking around. They keep turning this light off. So I'm turning them on as I go. And I'm like, this is getting dumb. And so I decided to sit around for a second to see who's going to pop out of their door and flip the light switch off. And I literally watch it flip by itself. And I was like, all right, I'm out. I'm like, I'm good. I just dip, right? And there were those hard flips. They weren't, little loosey-goosey switches where they could just kind of fall under their own weight. Like you actually had to, flip them. So it was just like, one of those things. And it was just like, all right, I can't explain it. But if I was to go in that direction, I would say it's a, spiritual force, but in like a demonic, angelic sort of way, right? Something like that. I don't think that people linger around for unfinished business or their energy exists or whatever it is. But I have had my own fair share of experiences that I'm like, yeah, that's a weird one.
So
yeah,
I've thought the topic was always interesting, right? And I probably should do a little bit more paranormal stuff or supernatural stuff, but I don't. Right, and that was kind of the basis for. I was researching a different topic, and I came across NDEs. And the topic was spiritual or ghost in, that kind of stuff. And I don't know, man. It's so tough. I want to tie something practical to it, right? It's an unpractical topic, but I want to tie something practical to it. I know it just doesn't make sense, but I don't know. I wish we had somebody who could speak on this intelligently, like Jeff. Maybe Jeff could say something. He won't, but maybe he could say something instead of just sitting there not talking all day. Anyways, our old co-host Kenzar Kid is in the chat right now. So, in case anybody didn't know who that K Turtz was, that is our old co-host. So, Skeeter, you got blessed with Kid today.
Yeah, what's up, kid? I mean, I've said before what I think ghosts are. I'm not really big into paranormal either, personally, but I I have a problem with like the whole time situation. The linear time thing. Why is it always? I also agree with Jake. First of all, that's a problem for me. Why isn't the dude with the vaping haunting some spot? But also, like, why isn't there hauntings of things that haven't happened yet? If this is like time's not linear and we're talking about some inner dimension, right, where this isn't, they're not here in this reality. I don't know, there's too much for me to think it's just ghosts in our pop culture kind of like mindset.
See, that's kind of the
Sure.
route I go on to. I go very much into that. We did get a comment, by the way, from Get Woke 444.
Yeah, I was just reading that. I like it. It says, could be energy imprints left behind by intense emotions or some type of tragic event. Maybe we don't see the kid who lost his vape because it wasn't that big of a deal. I've always been curious about that. I don't know. They make us question the boundaries of reality and what lies beyond.
Who knows? Maybe it's a time thing, right? Maybe we only see like these Victorian ghosts because there has to be a certain amount of time. Maybe it's got to be 200, 300 years. Maybe in 200, 300 years, it's going to be nothing but dead vape smokers.
The Intergalactic Federation of Light hasn't declassified the haunting yet for another 4,000 years.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
The next congressional hearing that we're going to be talking
right.
about here is going to be the release of all the classified documents on ghosts.
Yeah, but instead
Yeah,
of them
Mr.
not
Ghost.
releasing the JFK files for another 70 years,
That's
the
what
Galactic
they did with the.
Federation, yeah, they'll just do like another 200 years for the next, haunting.
That's what they did with the UFOs, man.
Yeah.
Anyways, good stuff. Yeah, Skeeter, man. Sorry, don't really have much to go off there, man.
Yeah, even my idea on ghosts, I'm not 100% settled on. Like Jake said, if it's true, it's all people's energy. They'd be everywhere. Everywhere we go, we'd be bumping into them nonstop.
Very
So,
true.
I mean, you couldn't go to the bathroom in peace ever again.
Yeah, someone would always be watching you.
So here's what I deduce. All right. So what Get Woke said about, a tragic event or something like that, right? So that seems to be the go-to thing. So statistically speaking, about 400,000 people die worldwide every single day. Most of those are not in a hospital bed surrounded by their family members, whatever it is. It's car accidents, it's heart attacks, it's getting shot, it's getting stabbed, it's all sorts of things, being murdered in one way or another. That's just a general statistic. So most people go out in a way that is not, oh, I'm here surrounded by my loved ones and I'm passing into the void, all that sort of stuff. It's horrible, tragic, sudden events, unplanned, deaths, things like that. So there would be so many ghosts. Like, it would be crazy, then versus the every so often onesie twosies, or you go into the an old cemetery and there's some Civil War guy in there type stuff. Like, it would be constant. I mean, as far as like Civil War type stuff goes, I mean, there's genocides going on across the pond in Africa right now, right? So it's just like there'd be so many ghosts. So it doesn't sit well with me to say like, that's the thing. It's got to be something horrible, because there's always something horrible going on, right? Like Ground Zero at 9/11 would probably be the most haunted place in the United States, but I don't know of a single ghost story that has come out of that place. That is a horrible, tragic event coming. Here we are talking about it on the 8th, right? So a couple days, and we're there for the anniversary. But yeah, that would be the most haunted place in the United States, but it's not, right? Why is that? because it's baloney. But I'm not going to say that stuff doesn't happen, right? That we still don't get those weird, whatever you want to call it, a wisp of like, the afterlife. Now, I have seen other people that have come out from, like a Christian testimony of someone who's come out of the world of like medium type stuff and fortune telling, and people that, believe they were contacting people's dead relatives and stuff to check up on them and stuff like that, and have said, yeah, all that stuff was super demonic. I was talking to demons that were pretending to be these people because they've existed since before these people were born and knew everything about them, right? And we're just pretending, right? So there is that, and that's a very common thing. So, when I dig into it, I'm just like, we could call it whatever we want. We could put any sort of a name on it. It doesn't have to be ghosts. We could say apparitions or spirits or whatever it is. But in my Christian worldview and my, what I see is that, all that stuff is pretty evil, because very rarely do people have that sort of an experience. And they're like, yeah, it was so uplifting. It was so positive. They're like, I was horrified, I was scared. Right. And it's like, okay, well, what causes fear and deception and all that sort of stuff? Well, that's Satan. Right. So it's just like, but yeah, it is definitely one of those topics that I think I've been somewhat nervous to kind of toy around with when it comes to the podcast, because I just don't want to give it any like room in my brain of like, I don't want to research it or anything like that, because I don't want to, give it any sort of space or limelight. But in the, I guess, platform we have of the infinite rabbit hole, it is something we're going to have to broach at some point. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of questions there, so it should make for some good content.
I mean, you're the skeptic. You play the role, right? So, like, if I present something and you're like, "This is horseshit," just, do what you do with everything else. Talk about the Dairos, right?
It's Dairos.
Let's see, Skeeter. Got anything else for us, man?
Well, we could go on for hours.
Well, we don't have hours.
I know, but I'm just saying. So, but fun. I'll give one more fun fact about what Jake was just talking about mediums. I don't believe in a lot of mediums, except for the few that are fortune tellers, I should say, not mediums, but more fortune tellers. I could always tell the ones I went to, they give you this whole long baloney story. Only twice have I been to where a psychic fortune teller, one time she just looked at me as soon as I walked in and pointed to get out right now, get out now. I am not dealing with what you got. And I'm like,
you're going to be on that stupid fucking podcast. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. And then another time, well, even that first one, a buddy of mine went in a little while later. It was a few days later, and I asked him, he walked right in, didn't say nothing to him like that, just gave him a whole, small talk stuff about, people who passed. And he said she was right on. And I'm like, really? And he goes, after I got done, I asked her, I said, you ever had to turn people away? And she goes, yes. Not long ago I did. And he goes, well, what happened? She goes, there was so much following him behind him, I just could not deal with it. And the second time I got turned away is my wife and I were down in Eau Claire. There was a lady who was doing down there for a while. And I'd just say second and third time, we pulled up in the drive. Instantly she turned the close sign, even though it was like 2-3 hours left to when she was supposed to meet people. She goes, I'm closed for tonight. I'm closed. Nope, sorry, closed. And I was like, why? That's how I could tell if it's a real one or not, because why can you talk to some people, but me, you're like, nope, there's too much about you and too much following you. I can't deal with it.
So I want to open up the questions to the chat. If anybody has a question for Skeeter, please post it. Until then, I have only had one run-in with somebody who believes that they are.
Demon. It's always demons. That's this guy. Yep. Yes, sir.
Can't possibly be anything else.
When we first started the podcast, there was a woman who used to get in touch with me all the time. She still does.
Ugh,
Still gets in touch with me.
no.
Not
Don't
gonna
talk-
say.
don't-
Not gonna say names. Not gonna say names.
It's like saying Voldemort in the Lord of the Rings in
I don't-
Harry Potter. Don't even say the name. Just
I don't get that. But anyways, she would like day after day after day. I'd wake up to like, hey, I had a dream about you last night. Hey, I had this weird dream and you were flying an airplane and it crashed. Do you think that has any correspondence with something going on in your life? I'm like, no, it doesn't. Not at all. And she's like, but you're getting out of the Navy and you work on aircraft. Maybe that's the crash of your life. And I'm like, okay. And I still get messages
Nurse
from
says,
her.
"Oh boy, I remember this." Laugh out loud.
I still get messages from her like every so often, and it'll be random. It'll be something super out of left field, just like, "Hey, you were in my dream the other night, and we were making stew, and then you wanted to add pixie sticks to it, and does that mean anything to you?" Yes. Yes, it does. You don't want to know, but yes, you're spot on.
You're gonna find out one day that she's actually like literally spelling out your existence. You're just like turning a blind eye to it.
Gosh, it's just like the gypsy woman said. This meal would be so much better with pixie sticks.
No, yeah. One day I'm gonna be making a stew, and I'm gonna look at some pixie sticks sitting on the counter for my kid's Halloween basket, and be like, "She was right."
Could be this year. Could be this year yet.
Well, anything else, Skeeter? Anything?
Like I said, I got a lot. I mean, this house is full of shadow people. This closet behind me, I never told my daughter, but this used to be my room when I was a kid. That closet is the weirdest closet in the world. It gives you a weird feeling. When we moved in here, I didn't tell my kids anything about this house. My daughter, after she moved out, she goes, I don't know what it is about that closet. It's not scary. It's not evil. It's weird. She goes, every time I'd go in there, it was weird. And I'm like, okay, I never said nothing to her. So I know, okay, that's two people experiencing the same thing. Then my one son went into it and he goes, why is this weird feeling? Like it doesn't feel like it's the house. I'm like, I don't know. So, portal.
Dad, why is there a hipster in your closets?
No monsters.
We have one of those. So this, if I leave right here, right,
Mm-hmm.
and I hang a left instead of going straight up the stairs, the guest bedroom, Jeff knows it was to the right. If I hang a left, that's the utility room. So it has the water heater, the boiler, all that sort of stuff in it, right? And soon we'll have our softener and all that stuff. But anyway, inside that room, there's another closet, and it's short. The door is probably 4 feet tall, and you open it up, and there's no lights in there. And it's underneath the stairs, and there's a chalkboard in there. And I get a weird feeling in there, like this was the punishment room. It's so weird. There's like a full size
chokey
chalkboard in
dude?
there. What?
Yeah, the
You got the chokey in your house?
It's very strange. I'm
You
just
guys know that reference?
No. Is it from Star
Matilda?
Trek?
No, from
No,
Matilda,
Matilda.
man.
I haven't seen that movie since it came out.
Dude, the chokey, bro. That shit used to terrify me as a kid. I had a teacher that was like the Trunchbull, bro. It's just that bitch. Yeah.
Make you eat a big chocolate cake.
Eat it. Blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're talking about.
It gives me like a weird vibe to it. I don't know. And it's just like, there's a lot of abuse that happened here. I just kind of feel it. And I talked to my neighbors because Whitney's been living in this house since November. I've only been here since January, but Whitney, we'll talk to the neighbors and they're like, oh yeah, those people were total shut-ins. They had a bunch of kids. They're like 4 or 5 kids. And they never went outside. You never saw them outside. You never saw them at any of the community events. Like these folks here in this neighborhood that we're in, like they have every 6 months they have like a block party type stuff, and they're like, you never saw them out at any of that sort of stuff and anything. And I just kind of walk it into that space. That's where I keep all like the ammo and stuff, and right, so like all the ammo cans and stuff, I just kind of throw in that little closet. But like walk in there, I'm like, ooh, weird.
Left that house,
huh?
You got to worry about is how many kids left that house or property.
You got kids in your walls, Jake?
I don't know. I'm not going to go looking around to find out. Tell you that much.
Just do the shave and a haircut knock,
Yeah. And if I get a knock back, well, Whitney, pack it up. We're moving.
All right. Anything else, anybody? No? Nothing?
No.
All right. Well, before we go, I'll go ahead and do what I promised. I'll let you guys know what we're going to do for Thanksgiving. I'm thinking it's going to be at least 2 episodes, possibly 3, but we are finally going to be diving into the Dyatlov Pass mystery.
Yes. Someone at work was just talking about that.
Yeah. And
they were asking if we talk about that, and I said I think either we have or we're about to, but it sounds very familiar.
Yep. I am about 3 books in so far, and I have some really, really good stuff on it. Really, really good stuff. It's interesting. A lot of science, a lot of breakdown of possibilities. I break the story down really well. It's coming together really nice. I think I could potentially even do 4 episodes if I really wanted to, but I don't want to stretch the information out so thin. But yeah, the Outlaw Pass, and then if you were here for last episode, you know that we will be doing the Men in Black for Halloween, and that will also probably be at least 2 episodes. So yeah, I like to go big. Well, anything else? Anybody?
Yeah, I was about to reply in the chat to Whitney. She said, nothing weird has happened here. First house to not have weird stuff happen because you don't know what I did in the basement when I was staying there.
There's kids in your sheets.
You want me to call Whitney and see if she'll come downstairs and tell what happened in our old house?
Yeah, I mean, if you want.
Let me give it
tell her to hurt. Make it snap. Well, I could tell her. Make it snappy.
Make it snappy.
Right. Past my bedtime. You don't have to call her. She's literally watching.
Oh, well.
Yo, Wowens.
I'm calling her anyway.
You want to talk to the world? Let's do this.
Yeah, for real.
I'm busy watching a show. Leave me alone.
Video games. So she's probably like, no.
Pretty sure she.
If she's not answering, then she's not watching the show currently.
What's even funnier, she's probably running around upstairs looking for the phone. When she can come down there and tell you no.
You want to come down here and be in the episode and tell everyone what happened in the last house?
Which
I don't know. You put it in the chat. You said nothing weird has happened here. First house to not have weird stuff happen. You want to come down and throw it on the episode?
Sure. Yeah, Doug's pretty much passed out in the living room.
All right. Well, come on down.
Okay.
All right.
Who ya, Wowens?
Yeah. Get the wifey on for the first time. 4 years in. First time.
Yeah.
And I was here for it.
Yeah, you were.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're making memories.
Sorry, Kenzer.
Please, Bowens.
Let's see while we're waiting. if anybody in the chat has any ideas for episodes, Skeeter, you got an episode? You got an idea? You got something you want us to cover, man?
Glimmer Man,
Glimmer Man, huh?
who's been
I thought you said
spotted.
Slender Man. I was like, already did.
No. He now I forget the Navy base that's in the United States. It's not far from National Park or park area.
It's probably the one in Oklahoma.
I can't remember where it was, but or the name of it. But Glimmer Man has been spotted. It's kind of like the Predator look when people see it, and they call it like it's a glimmer cloaking device. So yeah, I got somebody agreeing with me in there. So in the chat, for being here. But yeah, it's interesting story because a lot of people are seeing this all around the world, and I kind of saw something like it, but it was more just like an outline uh, of a visible thing, whatever it was.
Hmm.
So, but the stories I've heard about it are really interesting and maybe something you guys could dive into for an episode.
I see it is an urban legend.
Mm-hmm.
And I typically cover urban legends on Halloween. But I could always kick Men in Black back a little bit. Glimmer Man. I don't know. I gotta see if there's books on it.
I'm trying to remember if you guys did Black Eyed Kids too. Or
We
not.
did, but I'm going to be redoing that because it was a terrible episode. That was back before I did, better research and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So Black Eyed Kids will be redone at some point.
Nice.
How long does it take to get across your house, Jake? It's past my bedtime, bro.
There she is. See?
Whoa.
On cue.
Hey, look at that.
Hey!
It's her and not a kid. Ghost kid. She don't want to be on camera.
Doug woke up.
Wowens.
Jeremy.
Say things.
Okay. The first one was in Norfolk when we were living together with a bunch of Navy buddies. And we'd only been dating a few months. And we were living in like the attic space that was changed into like a bedroom. So there was like a staircase up to in our bedroom. And sometimes I'd have like my blankets pulled off. We didn't have a dog in there or anything. I'd just like fight it. And he would be asleep for it. And then one night he just popped up, just sat right up. And he's like, "You don't see him? Do you see him?" I'm like, "What?" He's like looking right at the stairwell. It's like the middle of the night. He's like, "You don't see him?" I'm like, "See who?" And he's like, "Huh." And he lays back down. I was like, "Great."
Well, fuck, I'm not getting to sleep now.
And didn't you have like a penny or a nickel thrown at you in the shower one time?
Yeah, I had a dime thrown at me.
Yeah, and you said it's because you were a Jew. But yeah, I'd have my blankets pulled off. Like that was before we even had Fred, and we didn't have the dogs upstairs, so I'd like be fighting something to like pull the blankets back up.
And then we heard all the footsteps, the running upstairs.
Yeah, they're running upstairs. That house is creepy.
It was,
Huh.
it was the house was built in 1901,
yeah,
or something like that, right? And it was in South Norfolk, so it was
in the hood.
It was gross.
It was in the hood, and it was decrepit and falling apart. We call it the Wonka house because the kitchen was falling into the crawl space that was like 5 feet tall underneath the house.
Kinda,
so
yeah.
All the windows and doors and stuff like that would stick because they were all kind of like really wonky.
Yeah.
Kind of looked like a Beetlejuice, like down in hell or wherever it was, purgatory.
Yeah.
In the waiting room. It's Beetlejuice house.
Huh. Interesting.
But, yeah, so that That place is creepy. I don't think we had anything happen in our house that we bought after Starkey's. No. But in California, we had some crap happen. We were listening to, what's that guy's? Bear
Grylls.
Oh no, we were listening to
What's that guy? Big old dude.
Bear
He's like,
Independent.
yeah. He's like into survivalist, like preppy, but also really Christian. And he was saying a prayer at the end of his little YouTube video, and our TV shuts off. I'm like, oh, what happened? The TV was unplugged, and it was like 3 feet away from where the outlet was. No dogs were behind it. Nothing was there.
Basically, our TV was in an entertainment center, and it was unplugged from the wall, and it was like the outlet was like thrown as far as it could go to the side.
Cool.
While he was like in mid prayer. And then a little bit after my knee surgery, it was more comfortable for me to sleep on the couch. Just keep my knee elevated and everything. And I swore I heard Jake peep around the hallway and just like do like a psst. I was like, what do you want? Because I saw like a shadow of a head like come over and just like psst. It's like, what? It's like, go away. And so I rolled into the couch, and then I felt something rush up on me, and I like flipped over, and there was nothing there.
That one was the knee surgery drugs for sure.
Oh, I wasn't on drugs anymore. No, ibuprofen. It's the Navy.
Yep.
They give you enough drugs to get you through like 3 days, and then it's ibuprofen.
It's. I had surgery. They gave me, I want to say like 2 volumes, and then everything else was ibuprofen. They just throw ibuprofen at anything. You got a nosebleed, ibuprofen.
It was the withdrawals from the.
No, it was a few weeks after it.
Ooh, tell them about Renee's house.
Oh, that place is creepy as shit. Can I cuss on here?
Yeah.
All right. I guess it's too late now.
This is a family-friendly show, Whitney. Gosh.
Lick my butthole. Anyway. Yeah, Renee's house. So their bedroom.
Let me throw this out there. So
Okay.
Renee was my best friend in high school. Can you guys hear me okay over here?
Yeah, sort of.
Okay.
I don't know how it's going to come out in audio, but
So Renee was my best friend in high school, and he and I both met when we were, I want to say we were Christians because our families went to church type stuff. And then as soon as we became adults, like I found my way back to Christianity through my life sucking. Hey, you found your sewing kit. Nice. Buy your other sewing stuff. I found my way back to Christianity, but he dropped off and went from, like what people would consider like a Bible thumper type of a person to doing like blood sacrifice witchcraft. Right. So, and he still is fairly into that space. So when we were getting ready to move to California on military orders, it was during COVID, and we were selling our house and we were going to go straight over to California. Well, because of COVID, they put me on a hold for 9 months. So Renee, who is my best friend in high school, he actually joined the Navy shortly after me, and he had a house right down the street from where we were. And so we were kind of in this pickle where it's like, well, we're closing on our house. The buyers are going to move in. What are we going to do for 9 months? And he just so happened to be out of tenants because he was out in Japan. So he was renting his house. So we moved into his house, and when we were moving in, it was a wreck, and the old tenants, they abused it. And so we had to help him fix it up and all this sort of stuff. But while I was moving in, all of his boxes and stuff of his clothes and everything that he didn't take to Japan were upstairs in the master bedroom. And so I asked him point blank, I said, Renee, is there anything in this house that is going to be like a magnet for the demonic, the spiritually oppressive, whatever you want to call it? And he's like, no, I don't think so. I was like, do you mind if I go through everything to be sure, right? There's no Ouija boards or, candles or any sort of sacrificial implements or whatever it is. And he's like, yeah, go for it. And so I went through and I didn't find anything. But the fact that those sorts of things were done in that house, led to a lot of interesting stuff. So you can go ahead and tell it from here because I was asleep for most of it.
Oh. So, well, I mean, he's definitely awake. So every time, so you could kind of see like the upstairs bedroom. It's kind of like the same thing as our first house that we lived in. Like the attic was converted into a bedroom. So the staircase, you could kind of see the bedroom door from like if you're walking by. And I'd always see something up there every time I walked by. I did not like being there alone at all. Felt super uncomfortable. Kept hearing weird stuff. I hated that house. Absolutely hated it.
Weird.
But
So,
also,
such a.
Oh.
Nope.
What's up?
Nope. You go.
Oh, no, you go, and then I'll tell a different story.
Oh, I was just going to say it's just a natural path of progression. Christian demonology. It's very strange, actually. But go ahead.
But prior to meeting Jake, I was living with my parents because I moved back from Oregon. I was getting ready to join the Navy, so I just stayed with them. I think Jeff's asleep.
He'll be right.
Oh, there he is. I woke up in the middle of the night feeling something grabbing my face. Completely dark, couldn't see it, and it felt like it was kissing me. It was
weird.
Creepy. It was super creepy.
I hope something tries to make out with me tonight. I'll fight it. Come on.
But it was kind of like frozen. I don't have like what's that term where you
sleep paralysis? Yeah,
I don't have that. But it was just I felt something grab my face.
You can totally have sleep paralysis on a 1 point episode. Like you can have it randomly. I had it one time in my entire life. Super fucking creepy.
Yeah.
But
I had it several times before I learned what it was, and then I learned what it was. I haven't had it since.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe it was like the one time deal. But where I grew up was in southern Idaho. So my dad's house is probably built on like some Indian graves or something. But down the hallway, on the other side of the wall in the hallway was my mom's like stand-up mirror. And there was always like this smudge that you can only clean off with just soap and water. Windex, nothing would clean it off. Because you'd always see something run down the hallway through the wall. And even all of our dogs would alert. They'd get up and just stare down the hallway with like their back raised up. And my bed would shake there too. My bed would always shake. I thought it was a dog, but I'd be like, stop it. Stop shaking. Stop itching. And then I look and I'm the only one on the bed.
Super weird.
To give relevance to the weirdness of Renee's house, right? Before he went to Japan, he confided in me one time. He's like, I think I'm getting a little bit too deep in these practices that I'm doing. I was like, all right, what's up, dude? And he's just like, I mean, I'll tell you straight up that any amount of dabbling is dumb, but I was like, what's up, man? And he's like, so he was married at the time. He said, me and my wife were being intimate, and I looked past her. She was on top. I looked past her, and there was a being standing at the foot of the bed watching us, an all black being just standing there watching us do it. And he was like, I wake up and I see this thing standing at the bed, like standing on my side of the bed, watching me sleep. And I'll look right up at it. He's like, it's always there. It's there when I'm changing. It's there when she's alone. It's there when we're being intimate. It's there, following me around the house. He's like, it's there constantly. He's like, it's starting to freak me out. I was like, yeah, you should probably stop. Didn't stop him, but it's just like, so, is like for us, hey, it's a godsend, right? Hey, we got, the protection of the Holy Spirit. We're not scared about any of this sort of stuff, or we don't have anything to be afraid of, even if it is freaky. But still, I want to protect my wife from any sort of trauma she's going to develop, right? So, hey, before we move in, is there anything crazy? And he's like, no, I don't think so. But yeah, it was definitely creepy. There was, you could feel this, I don't know, like maybe like Skeeter is describing with that closet. It was like a heavy feeling when you walked into the house. It was just like, something's off right now. It was very strange.
Yeah. All right. We gotta start cutting this off. Jeffrey has to get the bid. You can see him. He's troopering through this. Look at him. He's such a good sport.
Hi, Jeff.
Thank you, Jefferson.
Sorry, guys. I'm in a different time zone, man.
Yeah. Whatever. Anyways,
I got a blue collar career.
Oh yeah.
We get up and we work hard early in the morning, pay our
collar
American
career.
taxes. All right.
Yeah.
They took our taxes. All right. Skeeter, man, it's been a pleasure. I really do appreciate you coming on today, man.
Happy to be helping you guys out any way I can.
Yeah, dude. You've been awesome.
Every episode.
You've been awesome.
You at the next Elmwood thing, and you're going to be our
Yeah, I already booked it off, so come to see you guys.
If it wasn't for Skeeter, we would have had a really shit presentation at Elmwood. So Skeeter came through for us.
Yeah, he fixed the audio system. That's dope.
Yeah.
Fixed the audio. Got your video clear as I could get it.
So Skeeter, you do some stuff. You do a podcast, don't you?
I do mainly videos for YouTube, and I used to do it for my DJing all the time, but I kind of got out of that. But as you guys learned, I'm a big fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! I got hooked on it when my kids were little, and I do pack openings. I mean, I got right here cards. That's what this room is mainly for, my collection room. But yeah, I do that under Skeeter the Common King on YouTube.
Nice. What about you sent me a link for a movie discussion show on YouTube one time.
Oh, what was that? Gosh, I forgot.
Yeah, you guys are.
Yes.
I can't remember what you guys are talking about. Hellboy. I remember you guys talking about Hellboy.
Gosh, what was that?
Well,
a while ago. I'd have to look it up.
If you don't remember it, send me a link again, and I'll put it in the show notes. All right.
All right.
But thanks, man. I really do appreciate you. I appreciate all your support that you've given us for quite a while now. So, hopefully you had a good time. I know
we had amazing time meeting you guys. Was awesome. My wife is starting to listen to the podcast now, so
nice.
She
good
just
stuff.
heard me, but after she met you, she goes, "Those guys are really cool. They're down to earth and they're pretty fun." And it was the only presenter that we actually stayed and listened to, and I was happy they talked about Elmwood instead of the other ones were whatever.
Yeah, people were snoring in the MUFON presentation. That guy sucked.
Oh, you mean? Well, I don't want to talk bad about
the one right before us. No, he didn't ever listen to this. He was terrible person.
He didn't even know he was part of MUFON or where in MUFON, Minnesota MUFON. I mean, he's like, I am with
shit. What am I?
Looks at the screen of the presentation. He's like, Minnesota MUFON, and I'm like, you don't know who you are? Like, yeah, we stayed another 10 minutes and walked out and came and saw you guys again.
Right on, man. Well, very much appreciated. Appreciate the cards. Great stuff, man. It was nice meeting you. Nice meeting your wife. Can't wait for next year. It's going to be fun. Hopefully we'll have more in store. Jake, Jeff, you guys got anything else to add?
No, but thank
Jeff
you
Freak
so
just wants
much
to go to
for joining us on this episode. I'm gonna have
Oh,
Whitney
happy.
say bye on the end of it, so I got her
Aw.
sitting in the pilot seat. But yeah, no, thanks for joining us on this episode. It's been cool. We should definitely have you on again sometime.
Yeah.
Like even not really talking about maybe any of your experiences, but just to kind of guest in. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh, happy to help out.
But yeah, it's like it was really neat being at the booth in Elmwood, and then you coming up and being like, "Yeah, I've been listening to you guys for years." It's just like, really, like that's crazy.
I
Like,
always don't want to be creepy, be like instantly the super fan. I'm like, no, wait a
no,
while.
but I
and
mean,
then
but for
pop
real,
up.
like as far as I know, I mean, it took us. Me and Jeremy talk about the origins all the time, but for real, it really did take us a few practice episodes to get into the routine of talking to each other on the podcast and being like the audience is just a fly on the wall listening in on the conversation type stuff, right? Like days after the recording. But I never really expected to meet anyone that listened, right? And that changed when I moved to Wisconsin. I had a coworker that's been listening, right? And he's just like, "Oh yeah, I listened to your guys' show." That's wild. Having you come up and being like, I've listened to you guys for years and stuff like that, like never would have expected that to actually meet someone besides like having them on like Kenzar and stuff like that actually like is a fan and stuff. Like that was just a trip. And really what it put in perspective for me was that we're talking to real people. Like it's just a weird thing. It's not just numbers on a screen of like, oh, so many listens or whatever it is. We're actually talking to real people, and that we're impactful in just even if it's just like the comedy aspect or letting people kind of zone out for a little bit. That was the biggest thing for me and Jeremy coming up during COVID, was just like, let's give them something that kind of takes their mind away from all the BS that's going on in the world right now for an hour, right? Type stuff. It's like we really wanted to kind of press that in, as well as talking about some cool stuff and maybe getting someone's voice out there for some weird experience they've had. But it was just like there's a plethora of reasons, but it definitely like hit the mark for me as just like, oh wow, this is pretty cool. That we're maybe someone's at work and they're just listening to us to kind of zone out while they're doing their job or whatever. I listen to podcasts while I'm working on planes and stuff. It's just what I do. But it really was very, very neat to meet you, and then having you on an episode. I mean, that's just super cool, and I appreciate you having the courage to come on and share your experiences and stuff, and not caring what people think. Like you said, growing up being the weird kid and stuff like that. I mean, I know Jeremy experienced that, and he told me when he first told me about his Bigfoot experience, he's like, I don't want you to like get all weird on me, but I had this experience, and he says that I said he was full of crap. Sounds like something I'd say, but I don't recall saying that. But
because you said it.
I would have been like, tell me more. Keep
right.
coming.
But it's just like, it's cool. It's always cool having someone come on and tell us about what they've experienced, regardless of what we personally believe or think, right? Really, when it comes down to it, it's like a cool story. I don't know. It's just like it's cool hearing other people's perspective and experiences and things like that, even if it's way outside the scope of what I personally am like, nah, that's ridiculous, blah, blah, whatever it is. But I appreciate you coming on and you telling us your experiences and stuff and having this chat with us. And I never knew that my wife would end up being on a podcast episode after 4 years, so
Thanks to me.
Victory.
Good job, Skeeter.
Closet.
Jeff, anything?
No, man. Yeah, glad you came on, bro. It's good to meet you, and it's good. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun.
He's ready for bed.
I'm so tired, guys. I'm sorry.
He gets like this at the end of the episodes.
Man,
I'm so tired, dude. We got to start doing these like not late at night on a Sunday night, but
not gonna happen. Anyways, all right. thank you to everybody that showed up in the chat. Really do appreciate you guys stopping by. If you guys, ever want to guest on the show and come and have a chat with us, just let me know. Yes, kid, that means you too. Get woke. Everybody in the chat that sounded off today, thank you guys. You guys are always more than welcome to reach out and schedule an episode. Until next time, everybody, this has been another episode of the Infinite Rabbit Hole podcast. I'll see you in the next fork in the path of the Infinite Rabbit Hole. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.